everybody. I am your host. I am Jessica Koch, and this is another Profound Professionals. We are an interview series that has been coming to you for 8 years now. We bring industry experts from all over the world that can help improve your personal life or grow your business. I have two really interesting and exciting guests today. I have Tassos, he is a holistic coach, and I have Janice, and she is a WillowEOL educator supporting end of life legacy. So this is an important. These are both really super important topics. So I hope you're as excited as I am to hear from both our guests. So welcome both of you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. Great to be here.
So holistic coach, I feel like that covers many things. It could be many things. So tell us, Tassos, about how you became a holistic coach and what specifically you're doing to serve customers in the community.
Yeah, so maybe I will start first by explaining what a holistic coach is, just to set the stage, let's say.
Sure.
Right. So as you said, it could be many things, but it's basically four main things, which is how we approach all challenges in life through the lenses of four different levels of awareness, which is basically the physical, the mental, the emotional, and the spiritual level. So this is how we address different challenges of our clients, of our friends, of our colleagues, and of ourselves, first of all, right? Because first of all, we have to dig down inside and then go and try to heal and try to, support other people. So, so for example, if you're coming with a special challenge on a mental level or emotional level or physical level or spiritual, then we address this on all different levels, because the important thing is to find balance. Because someone may be very strong in the physical level of well-being or the physical awareness, but may be very weak on the spiritual or the emotional, for example, and vice versa. So this is how we try to balance this out and align all these four levels in order for the individual to be able to thrive and to be able to really grow on all levels at the same time. So this is what holistic coaching is about. And now how I started, just to reply on this second question of yours. Well, yes, I had a long journey, of course, because I was, in business environments, very demanding, corporate environments, very stressful, for almost 25 years now already. And I realized at some point, because I always was an athlete inside me, right? Since 5 years old, I was competing in swimming, in water polo, etc. So I was always very active and very physical in that sense. And slowly, I realized that this very stressful environments, with competition, high competition, because I don't mind competition in the swimming pool, for example, right? But competition, high and stressful competition, or non-unfair competition in a professional environment, that's something that can be really challenging, and can create a lot of stress. So slowly, because I went through these experiences, these hard experiences myself, I realized that I could turn, and I can take a journey, which is how I can grow myself, how I can develop myself, and how I can get this resilience, how I can achieve this resilience and this transformation, first of all, for myself, be more mindful, be calmer, be more holistic in that sense, on everything that I do, in everything that I think, in everything that I feel. And then and this evolved slowly to the coaching process. It all started actually a few years ago here in Qatar, 8 years ago, when I started practicing Kung Fu, because Kung Fu martial arts, right? Because I found a great master here, and we started this journey, and we're still training together. So I still train with him twice a week. And then I had some hypnotherapy sessions, about my life, about who I want to become and what do I want to achieve. And this is where the coach word really popped up, showed up. And then because I was coaching in swimming, I was coaching in also in Qigong, also in Kung Fu, slowly. And then I decided to, during COVID actually, to take my full certification in holistic coaching, specifically in the US through the International Coaching Federation. So now I'm a certified holistic coach with the ICF PCC level.
Mm-hmm.
right? And I'll keep going. I keep
So
going.
you're working with corporations and entrepreneurs and business
Both.
people.
Yes, I do the full spectrum. I do one-on-one coaching with individuals, which
Mm-hmm,
can be executives, women executives, business owners, or men executives, of course. And then I also do group coaching
mm-hmm,
on specific subjects, and I do also executive coaching / training to
mm-hmm.
corporates, to organizations. For example, almost 2 months ago, I delivered a big executive workshop with 75 people about active listening and empathy, for example. And there were senior
Oh,
managers of a local huge conglomerate, actually, of in the energy sector.
oh, very
So
good.
yes. Yes, and because I'm coming from the business and experience and the entrepreneurial experience at the same time, because I've done also 4 businesses myself
Mm-hmm.
in the past, so I can understand both the corporate world and the entrepreneurial, world and entrepreneurial challenges.
So do you do virtual workshops and group
And face
programs
to
that people
face,
can
both.
okay.
And I don't do programs. I don't have my own program, like online
Mm-hmm.
course. I have my own coaching program, but on a one-on-one or in a group coaching setting.
Okay. Very, very good. Well, we're going to come back to you in a few more minutes and ask some more questions, but I would really love for everyone out there watching to learn more because I know I'm curious to hear Janice's story and what really Willow EOL is and how you're doing this support for legacy. So share with us a little bit about your story, Janice.
Well, thank you so much. I became a Willow end-of-life educator after I became an end-of-life doula.
Mhm.
So during the pandemic, I was planning to drive to Michigan in March of 2020, and obviously everything got shut down. I had already been a volunteer on a patient-family partnership council with university hospitals here in Ohio. And so I discovered through my contacts there that there was an online course that I could take to become a death doula. And it was with IAP College. So I started that program in March. I finished in April. Prior to that, I have over 20 years of experience as a primary caregiver, medical advocate.
Oh,
I
wow.
am also a 24-year stage 4 papillary thyroid cancer survivor. So every aspect along my life journey as an adult has led me to where I am today.
Mhm.
We live in a society, unfortunately, that is very death phobic still.
Mhm.
Death is part of life. And if we don't plan for it, if we don't talk about it, if we don't educate our younger people, our children, life is not a video game. You don't lose it and then get 10 more to replace it. That's not how this works.
Yeah.
So, because of the way that things go, you just never know where you're going to end up. So, as a Willow end of life educator, I have the opportunity to do in person presentations. I have actually 11 different ones that I can do, but the most popular one is how to write a legacy love letter.
Mhm.
So, what I do is I guide individuals, usually in a group setting, on the process. There are 6 prompts that you can use to talk about with a loved one, or you can actually write a letter telling them how much you love them, what they have done to enrich your life. If there has been any estrangement or complications, or as we all know, families fight. And this is a letter to remind you and to remind them of the love that you share. I've seen where folks have written these letters and given them to their loved ones and have been able to reopen lines of communication, which, if you know some families like I do, you would never dream in a million years that that would ever happen. But it is really so important to promote that positivity, to promote that forgiveness of them and especially of yourself, because you only know what you know and you only can do what you can do until you know better. So, Maya Angelou with her, I knew better, I would have done better situation. It's a very similar situation. I've been fortunate to be a published co-author with 10 other end-of-life doulas. Bold Spirit Caring for the Dying is my chapter. Chapter 6 actually talks about my mother's passing and the experiences that my family and I had during that period of time, which blew my mind because my mom is the reason that I'm doing what I'm doing. She always told everyone I wouldn't still be here if it weren't for my angel Janice. So I actually created my business. It's called My Angel Janice, and it is to honor her, and it is to help other individuals and their loved ones through the process. I personally do not vigil with people. Vigiling is where you're sitting with someone who's actively dying. I do everything before. I was a sandwich generation mom, so I was raising my 2 children while trying to also take care of my parents. I did not have a lot of help or resources because I didn't know where to look. I know much more now since I've lived it, and I'm actually still living it because I live with my 89-year-old father. I promised my mother I would take care of him, and I'm also taking care of her younger sister, who's 86.
Wow.
And there are so many things that go into caring for someone. I'm also someone who is like many other people in the world who has given up their prime earning years to be a caregiver. And now that I'm getting older, I'm trying to figure out what is it that I'm going to do to make up for that so that I don't end up in a really bad situation and physically and or possibly mentally unable to advocate for myself or to have support at that
Sure.
point in time.
So you help families plan for some of this end of life thing, and now you do that in person. Do you do it virtually? Do you have all these workshops virtually, or some of them are in person? Is it kind of a hybrid of both? How are you running that?
I'm actually through Willow, well, not through them, but to because I'm an educator, I was sponsored to hold a session in person, a training session on how to write a legacy love letter back in March in a local public library. I'm doing multiple podcasts to try and get the word out. I really want to be the voice. I want to show others, especially the adult child caregiver who's going to be blindsided if a catastrophic event happens with their loved ones, that you have options. There is support out there. You do not have to do this alone, but you have to reach out. You can't just expect it to be covered by health insurance, because what I do is not. I am a self-pay individual. I do really want to work more with adult child caregivers because I know that life and I know what to look for and how to make things less chaotic. I do work with individuals at this point mostly, unless I'm doing presentations and then they're in a group setting.
Okay, and to find out about how to get involved in one of your programs, they can go to your website.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's wonderful. What's a tip that you would give a family to try to be more prepared for this so that it isn't just popping up when it occurs?
Proactive. Please be proactive. Do not just sit back and wait. When we don't make those plans, things fail. And you don't want to live that life. I've lived it. I don't recommend it. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I think that it's just a matter of being real. Our mortality is just that. Life is not infinite, it is finite. And the sooner that we embrace that, or at very minimum acknowledge it, and don't just wait.
Right.
Be the proactive one. If you are an adult child caregiver, or if you're just an adult child, go ahead and do your own end of life planning. Do your directive plans and your final wishes. These are living documents that will change. But if you don't start the process while you're still healthy, while you still have your wits about you, when you are, not just waiting until the last minute, because that's when the chaos and the devastation occurs. And you don't want to live that way. And it's so easy to not. It's just so easy.
I love that. And so not ignoring that part. So be proactive and plan. Tassos, so with the holistic coaching, you're working, it sounds like you're working a lot with businesses and individuals, and you're covering all the aspects of their life, including the spiritual and their family and joy and their hobbies and being successful, reaching their goals in their place of work. I bet this is a topic that comes up for you also, because it's part of our spiritual piece, right? Having that full plan. What do we want our legacy to be? What do we want people to remember us for? What do we want to leave behind on this planet as far as knowledge and achievements long after we're gone, so that we can still make an impact to someone's life? Is that something that you deal with in your coaching?
Yes, definitely, and thank you for summarizing so nicely. Because yes, the spiritual part is very, very well connected with what with what Janice just described before, and it's a great point here, to connect our, let's say, our minds and our thoughts and our experiences here, right, and try to go even deeper if you wish. I don't mind at all, because the spirituality anyway is a part of the holistic coaching, and I'm personally also very involved in that, because I also meditate a lot. I also try to take care, of the difficult and be proactive, as Janice said very nicely. Be proactive on the difficult questions, because the difficult question is who I really want to be. For example, right? And it doesn't matter on the age. You can be 20-year-old, you can be 60, 70-year-old, and still have this question there challenging you, right? Who I really want to be when I grow up. Right. So one question is this. The other one is about the legacy that you described. Of course, what I want to leave behind for my kids, for my family, for the community, for the world, for the planet, for the universe, whatever, whatever aspirations, or let's say deeper questions anyone has, So yes, so I'm supporting the individuals, but also the some of the executive, and I mean in the corporate level, to try to realize that, because for a corporate, for an organization, is the same. The questions are similar, because the corporation, the organization is a living organism, is an organism which is a living organism consisted by individuals, by people in the end, right, by humans. So the corporates would have the same difficult questions: who I want to become, who I want to be when I grow up, when I'm a startup, when I'm a middle-sized corporation, or when I am a gigantic corporations, because we are losing track sometimes, and we're losing our path during the process. So we have to be very, very.
Yes.
So please go ahead.
I'm sorry. I was just going to say also, though, if you're building the business yourself, you need, much like your life plan, you need a corporate legacy plan, right? Is the goal to become, a publicly traded company and be this company that lasts for 150 years? Or is the goal to build it to a certain place where it could be sold and become a part of another larger company? Or is it to leave the company for the legacy of my children and things? So all those things can, from a holistic coach standpoint, when you're dealing with the business world, be part of what you're supporting your clients in.
Exactly, and if I may add on this, because we are the ones that we create our businesses, right? And we are the ones that created the organizations. So we are the ones to choose what is the path, what is the vision, what is the who are the people that will join our dream or our vision, our aspirations, right? So it needs to be very, very clear inside us who we want to be and what we want to achieve. These two things: who we want to be and what we want to achieve, so that we create this, and we are happy. We're happy in the process, because I think the main thing is how we're going to be happy. How we're going to be happy
joy,
until the end of our lives, right, Janice? Until the end of the life.
Yeah, we don't want any regrets. We want to know that we did what we were passionate about, and that we took all the steps necessary. I think that prior generations, that wasn't necessarily the model. And
No.
that's one of the things that I'm running into with some of the folks that I'm dealing with. They have definite preferences, I guess you would call them, as to what's acceptable and what is not. And our generations now, they have bucked that system.
Yes.
And they do not agree with it, and they do not tolerate so many of the things that we tolerated growing up, and all of the negative messages that we were given. And for a very long time, I did not understand that spirituality was not the same as organized religion, because I wasn't taught that. And then when Oprah came on, and she was just going with her Super Soul Sundays and everything, and it was so eye-opening and so refreshing, and it resonated so much. And there are so many people now who are understanding that, and who are not accepting the status quo, and who are making a difference, like Tassos and like myself. What we are doing is to benefit everyone, and to bring enlightenment, and to bring joy, and to bring a new passion, and to say, yes, if you feel this way, it's okay, go for it. Take that leap of faith. There are so many times in my life where I didn't do something because I knew others' expectations and the obligations that I had already put myself into weren't going to allow me to go and achieve what I wanted to easily. I'm still working on that. And so I'm, much happier, even though the topic that I cover could be viewed as negative or depressing.
Right.
It's really not. If you've ever been with someone who has transitioned, it's sometimes can be the most amazing and beautiful experience you will ever have.
Yes,
And
I sat with my grandmother as she
yeah,
took her last breaths, and I was
yep,
there alone with her. And so you're right; it's really, really a beautiful experience. And you're right about the change in view set. And Tassos, I'm sure you're running into this also in the business world, where the youth of the community, they're all about this remote work. They were about it before it was a cool thing, before COVID happened, and they want free time, and they want family time, and that matters more to them, than the gold watch at the end of 20 years with a company, which used to be the old mindset. With the life balance, peace in mind, and the whole holistic approach, give us a tip for everyone that they could use today, Tassos, that you could share with everyone.
Yeah, the tip there is the balance. I think the insight here is the balance. We always need to think of the yin and the yang, like the
Mhm.
Chinese philosophy. You need to have this, to think of a balanced terms. Of course, extremes. Of course, sometimes we will go to extremes, and it's also healthy
Mhm.
to be in the extremes sometimes, right? But not to stay in the extremes.
Right.
This is the challenge here. So for me, yes, our life should be balanced. I think
Mhm.
this is one of my personal values as well. And of course, we enjoy the extremes whenever we need to enjoy the extremes. Of course, we enjoy all the negative, or not the negative, I would not say negative or positive, the challenging emotions, but also the
Mhm.
empowering emotions. Because
Mhm.
yes, challenging emotions is the sadness, the depression, the anxiety, frustration. I call these challenging emotions. And I call empowering emotions the joy, the happiness, the passion, the love, etc. Right? So we have to we have to experience all these in order to be complete as humans, right? Because
Mhm.
this is what we are made of.
Sure.
We're made of these emotions and these feelings. But I think balance is the appropriate way to be.
Mhm.
In order also to be able to be proactive, as Janice beautifully said, to be
Mhm.
proactive, to be planning on different issues in our lives, but also in order to be waking up in the morning and smile. And
Mhm.
also going to the bed in the evening before going to bed, and also smile and be grateful of what we've done and what we've
Mhm.
accomplished. Because if we don't have this balance, we can never do this.
Balance and gratitude. That is great. So Janice's
Yes.
tip was be proactive and plan, and Tassos is have balance and gratitude. Janice, all of our guests, and this is you out there watching, get ready to hit in the comments and share with us the cause that you care about, because we want to inspire time, treasure, or talent to be shared with these different organizations. You can hit the share button and you can inspire someone to do something good today. So, Janice, share with us a cause that you care about.
I really believe that it's so important that we support our elders,
Mm-hmm.
not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, emotionally.
Mm-hmm.
It's they're a population that is preyed upon by unscrupulous folks.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even begin to tell you how many scam calls and emails get sent to my dad. And my aunt gets multiple calls a day. She can have 25 calls on her answering machine
Mm-hmm.
from scammers and from people trying to sell her different things.
Sure.
Leave them alone, please. There's
Well,
just no reason. There's no reason to do that. I mean,
and I
it's
think elder care is such a great cause because, like you talked about, advocacy. So, especially medical advocacy, so having someone support them to know what the right questions are to ask and how to support them, and have someone to ask. Should I respond to this message or this email? Just having an advocate in someone's life. So, maybe there is a senior center near you, and you could reach out to see if you could adopt a senior and be that support, that mentor, that conversation person, to help them with elderly support and advocacy and care on some level. I think that's a beautiful cause, and it's so connected to what you do, Janice. So thank you for sharing that one with us. Tassos, how about you? A cause that you care about, something that's close to your heart?
Yeah, something that's very close to my heart and also my wife's heart and our family. Let's say it's about adoption, because if you may see here on the photos, here is Maya, which is adopted, and here's Socrates, which is our biological son. So we had Socrates first, as our biological son, and then few years after, we decided to save a life. So we adopted Maya from Ethiopia, right? And we're still continuing supporting, families and the organizations in Africa or in Ethiopia specifically that, they go through this process, and we can support some thousands or millions of children there, because it's very tough.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you so much. Adoption is great, and that what a legacy to leave is, helping children have better lives. So even if you can just support with awareness by pressing share, or time, treasure, and talent, by giving in some way or volunteering in some way, if this inspires you, check out what you can do. The next part of the show is one of my favorites. We talked about books a tiny bit with Janice, but we're going to go back again because I am a huge book lover. And we are going to first get from our guests a book that inspired their personal life or helped them grow their business, not written by them. So, Tassos, tell us a book for you.
The book actually is very well connected with my son's name, right? This side, Socrates, because even I don't know if you know Dan Millman's book, Dan Millman's The Journeys of Socrates. So
Ah,
Dan Millman is an American, actually, a philosopher and writer, right? And he was describing about his mentor in the book, and how he came up in his life. He appeared one time, and he started supporting him in his own journey and his personal growth and personal development, right? So he became a champion in gymnastics, etc., etc. And
mm,
then he called his mentor, although his mentor was coming somewhere from Russia or somewhere, from the East, he called
mhm,
his mentor Socrates, right? So,
mm,
and then he describes in his book his journey. And actually, I was reading this book when my wife was pregnant with Socrates, and I was reading this book, and my wife was reading Plato, so about the ancient Greek philosopher Plato. And then when she was pregnant, we didn't have a name for Socrates yet. And then we said, what do you think? We knew that he's a boy. So we said, okay, what do you think? Let's brainstorm some names. And all of a sudden, because we're there by the beach, beautiful beach in Greece, just reading books about Socrates, we said, why don't we call him Socrates? And this is how it came. So I will never forget this book. I will never forget this book, and I will never forget these the teachings of Dan Millman and his journey as well.
That's wonderful. And you're working on a book yourself as an author. Yes?
Yes, as a co-author, actually, on a book which is about my holistic coaching program and practices. Of course, about my life journey and my experience so far, and all these, and also about explaining how the heart coaching methodology, because I have a program which is called Heart, like the organ heart, right? But it's an acronym because it's H for holistic, E for empowerment, A for acceptance, R for resilience, and T for transformation. So how we start with the holistic approach, the holistic platform, and then we go to the empowerment phase, then we go to the acceptance phase, acceptance of ourselves, first of all, acceptance of others, and acceptance from others. So how we face all these three dimensions, and then how this builds our resilience, our self-resilience, to be able to cope with any challenging situations, or any dramatic events in our life, so that we finally transform as individuals and as persons. So when we're looking back, we say, okay, this is where I started, and this is where I have reached, and this is the path that, the Heart program helped me to achieve and helped me to grow and transform myself.
I love that. It's really beautiful. How about you, Janice? A book that inspired your personal life or helped you grow your business?
The book, it came about because after my mom had passed and I discovered that end-of-life doulas were a thing, I was doing some research at the library, and Deanna Flores Cochran wrote a book called Accompanying the Dying. And it's a practical, heart-centered wisdom for end-of-life doulas and healthcare advocates. As I was reading this book and reading her story on how she became an end-of-life doula, we could have been twins. The only difference is that she is a nurse. I am not a nurse, but because of my own cancer journey, because of my mother's cancer journey, I've learned so many things. And I was taught by medical professionals how to clean my mom's port, or how to give her intramuscular injections and do all the things that kept her from having to go back to the hospital. They taught me how to do it, and I was taking care of that for her. So Deanna's book really hit a nerve with me, and how what I had already been doing could be taken further and help so many more individuals. So that was my inspiration, in addition to my mother, to become an end-of-life doula. And she is still working today, doing amazing things and running amazing organizations. So I'm proud to be able to say that I am a part of that community.
I love that. I love that. And you also are an author, a co-author in a publication. Tell us a tiny bit about that. You mentioned it earlier.
Back in 2021, I was asked to contribute a chapter to a book that is also co-authored by 10 other end-of-life doulas. And in the book, we all share a story about what was important to us, or an experience that we had had. And so I talk about my mother's passing. I talk about what led up to it. I talk about us all being around her bedside and watching her transition. I didn't know what to expect. It was the first time in my life that I had ever been with someone who transitioned like that. And it was an amazing and incredible experience when you watch your loved one stop breathing, and then you feel a cool breeze go around the room. We were all crying, and then after that cool breeze went around the room, we just stopped, and it was so quiet and so peaceful, and it was just absolutely an amazing experience. I really wish that my children had been there to experience it, because I think that it would have helped to alleviate some of the anxiety that they have regarding dying and death, because that transformed me. And I know that it transformed the rest of my family.
That's lovely. Thank you for sharing that. So if you are out there and you have written a book or you have a book that you love, I hope you put it in the comments. We would love to hear from you. And if you're an industry expert and thinking, wait, I could help improve someone's personal life or grow their business, well, reach out to us and our team on the show here, and we will see about getting you scheduled in. I hope our amazing guests will also share us with industry experts that they know that should be on our show. And I hope you guys have been enjoying being on the show, because it's been really nice to have you both.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're honored.
So as we say goodbye to the audience today, we are going to ask for a final piece of information or inspiration from both of our guests. And then we will go on our way until our next show. So Tassos, give us a final thought, a closing thought, a piece of information or inspiration to leave everyone with.
I think I would say that really let's try to find our passions, because we all have something that we really care about, and we really are capable, or we are talented. We all have talent, and sometimes we neglect it or we don't realize it. We don't realize our talent. So let's find our talent. Let's find our passion about this talent and try to spread it out in the world, because then the world can be a much better place and we can be happier people at the same time. So that will be it, I guess.
That's wonderful. I love that. Janice, give us a final closing thought, a piece of information or inspiration that we can leave all of our audience with as we say goodbye.
Well, I would like to offer a 10-page plan for someone before or after death. And if you contact me through my email, I would be happy to send it out. My thoughts on all of this is, we plan for birth. Let's plan for death too. It is so much easier to do while you are still younger, while you are healthy, while you are not experiencing a chaotic life event. And it's one of the kindest, most loving things that you can do for yourself and for your loved ones. You don't want to have them planning your funeral or making life and death decisions while they are grieving you. That's just cruel. And we don't need to do that. We need to be cognizant. We need to be kind. We need to be proactive. So I implore all of you, doesn't matter how old or young you are, take ownership of it and go for it and get it done. You will feel so much better, and then you can go and live your best life.
That's right. That's right. So find your joy and your passion, live your life, and plan for your legacy so that you can still have an impact long after you're gone, and you can celebrate and embrace your loved ones. So this has been a great show. Thank you again, guests, for being here. I am your host, Jessica Koch. This is Profound Professionals, the interview series that brings you industry experts that help improve your personal life and grow your business. And until next time, everyone out there, be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. Bye, everybody.